The way to express love for God is to extend love to each other. And one of the key factors in showing love is the willingness to serve. Jesus was our perfect example of a servant. He came and he served everywhere that he went. And if we are Christians, we are Christ like, then we are going to show love by serving as well. And sometimes within our different religious cultures or communities, we get caught up in the protocol and we lose that service. But remember, if Jesus, God's only begotten Son, if he came and if he served others, then we have no escape. We have to serve others. And that's how we show love. And that's how we identify ourselves as Christians. As always, I'm so glad to be here. I'm especially glad to be here. I have missed an entire unit and I've missed doing this so much. Thank you for all of the calls, the emails, the messages, your concern. As some of you know, I did lose my mom, and it's not that I was sitting back grieving and crying and depressed, and I did not backslide, but there was just so many things to handle. And I was just overwhelmed, and I felt like I was not at a good energy level to be able to present. And I believe that anything that you do for the Lord should be done in excellence. And I didn't feel like it would be good enough to present to the people of God. So rather than present something that was poor quality, I took a few weeks off to get myself together to present to you. And I am so glad to be back. Thank you for your kindness, for your forbearance through all of this. Now, this lesson is serving love, and this unit is about love, and we're talking about Jesus here, and he was there with the disciples, and our text said that after they had eaten, after they got done with supper, he got up and he girded himself, he put a towel around himself, and he wanted to wash the disciples' feet. Now, when we look at this again, Jesus, he's the Son of God, and we see him here serving his disciples. And this was an excellent example that he was setting. So we see here Peter. Now we know Peter, he's outspoken, he's right there, and he told Jesus, he said, you're never gonna wash my feet. And the connotation here is that you're Jesus, you're the leader, and you're in charge, you're too good to wash my feet. That's the connotation that the text gives. But what Peter didn't understand is that Jesus was teaching them a lesson in humility and showing them what to do as disciples of him who would have to be leaders to build out that church. And so Jesus told him, he said, if I don't wash your feet, you have no part with me. And then, Peter got all excited again. He said, well, wash my feet, my head, my hands also. And Jesus told him, if I wash your feet, you're clean, and that will suffice. And this was a symbolic act of love and care and concern that Jesus did for them. And then he told them to wash each other's feet. And he was the kind of leader, he did it first and then he told them to do it. And again, this was such an act of service and such an act of humility. Now we're again talking about the Son of the one true and living God. And at this point, at the beginning of this text, it said that he had all power in his hand. And I want to really point out something that just got me. These lessons, man, they come and they get you. So I was looking at this and they was talking about it, and he said that he knew that one of the disciples were going to betray him. And as leaders or even just church members, sometimes it's easy, right, to serve and help those who are loving and they're kind and they're nice. But then you got those people who they're not going to treat you right. They're going to betray you. I've had situations where I left church, went the opposite direction of my house, dropping off people, drove back past the church on my way home. And before I get to the highway good, this person's on the phone talking about me. And, sometimes when people do that, it's like, you don't really want to be bothered with them. Just I'm going to be saved over here and you do your thing over there. But that's not what Jesus did. Jesus washed his feet as well. Now we talk about being Christians, right? I want to be just like Jesus. I want to be more and more like Jesus. Well, that right there, that thing right there, it really got me because, just to be candid and transparent, him, I'm that person. I don't believe in fighting back. I'm not a fighter. I don't believe in arguing with people. I'm not gonna come for you if you come for me. But what I will do when I find out that somebody is not right, I distance myself. It's like, okay, I'm just not gonna be bothered with you. And God convicted me on that. He said, if you're gonna serve, you gotta serve that person that you know is gonna lie on you. The one who you know is gonna backbite. The one who you know is undercutting you, you still gotta serve them as well. Because that's what Jesus did. And he knew that he was there and that he was going to betray him. And that is that heart of a servant, because what you're doing is unto the Lord, because that is what God did for us, right? While we were yet sinners, Jesus died for us. I didn't deserve it. None of us deserve salvation. And so sometimes it's easy for us to say what somebody else doesn't deserve, but we got to think about what we deserve. The wages of sin is death, and Jesus paid that wage for us. And so we have to extend that level of forgiveness and service to each other. And then as we move further down in the text, he introduced a new commandment. Now, the Israelites, the children of Israel, they were a very religious people. They knew those laws. They knew the Mosaic law, and they kept all of those customs, the feasts and the rituals. And so Jesus said, I got something new for you, a new commandment I give to you, that ye love one another. And he said that then they are going to know that you're Christians by your love. That is what's going to separate you. I remember when my church first started, we had a small congregation, and it was so much love. People would come in and they would say that they just felt the love of God. And I've shared before, our congregation fell off a little bit, and I like to call it pruning, because now at this point, after 40 years, we're getting back to that feeling when you walk in and you can just feel the love permeating throughout the building. That is the love of Christ, that genuine love that flows from heart to heart. And that's what he said. That is how they're going to know that you're a Christian. And that's so important. They're not going to know by how high the neck of your dress is. They're not going to know by how long your hem is. They're not going to know by how many buttons is on the front of your suit, your double-breasted suit, and your collar. They're not going to know by any of that. They're going to know by the love that you extend to them. And that's what Jesus was stressing here, the love. You show love by extending yourself, by serving. And feet washing is one of the ordinances of my church. And my church, we typically do it on New Year's Eve, and we typically do it at Easter. And it's just such a time. For us, it's a really high spiritual service, and it's just such a warm feeling as we put our feet together and we wash. And that is something that we need in terms of just not even just feet washing, but the service and the love and the caring about each other, taking the time to figure out how you feel, or what's going on. And I keep saying it, but over the last couple of months, since I lost my mom, it's just been such an outpouring of love. And honestly, I could not have made it without the prayers of the saints, and without, I said I had people coming in my house and cleaning out my refrigerator and cooking for me, and just all of these things that people did to get me through that. That's as much Christianity as speaking in tongues is, as dancing, shouting, preaching, and teaching. We've got to treat each other right. We've got to love each other. And this is what Jesus did. He got up and he washed his disciples' feet. And throughout the New Testament, throughout the Gospels, you will see Jesus serving. When we speak of ministry, the word minister is to serve. As a minister, we are at your service. And when we have that mindset of service, that is how our ministries flourish and grow. And even during this time of pandemic, as the COVID-19 numbers start to skyrocket again, consider your brothers and your sisters and just go out of your way. I know we haven't been able to visit a lot, and some people are really down about that. And I just do small things, like I'll send a fruit basket or a card, something through the mail, just and say, I'm thinking of you, I love you. Those things go such a long way, and it means so much to people just to know that you're thinking of them. And that's what we want to do, because again, the way that they know that you're a child of God is by the love that you show. Right. Watch. Because see, John says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It was done in love. And everything that we do should be done in love.